How many people do you really need to create a successful launch of your online course or your offer? We're going to talk about how many people you need, and it's a lot less than you might think. So even if you have a really tiny list, here's what you can do to engage those vital few people you have following you and create a successful launch of your online course. So how many people do you really need to create a successful launch of your online course? So years ago, I read a great book by Kevin Kelly. It's called 1,000 True Fans. And it had me totally rethink this whole idea of quantity, and how many people we have to have following us to create success. Because what Kevin shares is that we really only need 1,000 true fans. So if you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're an expert like you really only need 1,000 people following you to create a really high impact, successful business around what you do. Now, I'm thinking, even after looking at this, that it might be a lot less, and I want to show you how this plays out. So I want you to imagine that you do have those 1,000 fans. One of the things that Kevin says is that you need 1,000 fans that spend $97 a year with you, and you've created what most people consider to be a really successful business, right? So you've got a $97 offer. You have 1,000 people who are investing in that offer a year, and that means that you have essentially, a $100,000 business or a $97,000 business. The thing I want you to think about is, what if your offer wasn't $97? Because most online courses are more than that, right? So most online courses are much higher. So even if your course was $497, and so we're roughly at $500, right? You need 200 people to hit that goal of reaching a revenue goal of 100,000. But look at how crazy this is, right? When you get to the level where you're offering a program that creates enough value for your audience to invest $997 one time with you, you only need 100 people to hit that same goal. 100 fans. And when you think about the doability of that, that seems really tangible, right? Because you think 100 people, gee, I gotta get 8 people a month to say yes to working with me, and I'm at my 6 figures in revenue, right? So what happens if you've only got a small following and you're really working towards getting to those 100 people? What do? So I want to talk about 4 things that you can do to make that small list really an advantage for you. Because a lot of times we think, oh, I don't have a big following, that's a huge weakness, but it's actually an advantage because you can do things that other people aren't doing. So what can you do? Number 1, first thing that you can do is focus on this. Focus on over delivering value. I think a lot of times we are, hit right out the chute with offers from people, things that they want us to invest in with them. They're asking us to do something with them. One thing you can think about is, how can you over deliver right away? How can you give? So if the first point of contact I have with you is I go to your webinar, what could you give me that I would think would be really high value? And that, to me, fuels this idea of reciprocity, right? I'm gonna follow you and I'm gonna reciprocate because you're giving me value. I'm gonna start adding value back to you by following what you're doing. The second thing that you can do that's really a point of difference that I think a lot of people miss is that when people do start to follow you, think of it as an opportunity to engage. I see all the time folks that are posting, especially people who have big followings, they post things and they get lots of comments on Facebook or Instagram, but they don't respond to any of that. And there's a point at which you get really big, right? And you either have people doing that, maybe they have people on their team doing that, or it's just too much for them to do it. And they're missing a huge opportunity that you have, because when you're small and you have a smaller following, you can get to know all of those people following you. You can comment, you can engage in conversation with them, and it's a huge advantage. So think about where you can go on your own page, your own Instagram, LinkedIn groups, discussion groups, and start to engage with people. The third thing that you can do to really stand out is this. Email. I know email is old school, right? We think everything should be automated and I'm gonna just put out my launch and everybody's gonna follow me. One big opportunity you have when somebody does choose to follow you is to actually email them personally. Reach out to people that are following you on your list. Comment personally, reply back when they start to download an ebook or they comment on something on your e-zine. Create that relationship with them that's a real relationship that transcends having somebody be on your list, right? The fourth thing that you can do is something that I think it gets swept away in this whole digital space. Like we think everything should be just automated. We should never talk to anybody that's following us, right? I think that's a huge missed opportunity, because when everybody else is so focused on automating everything, when you make an effort to connect person to person, you can really stand out. Phone discovery calls are a great way to fill your offer. If you're looking at, wow, I just need to get 100 people this year to say yes to my offer, how much easier is that when you're doing these things? You're adding value. You're engaging with people and they know that you see them as a real person. You're emailing them and following up and providing tools and resources that can help them. And you're willing to get on the phone with them to talk about what they need and how your program can fit into that. There's a lot of ways to really, really stand out when everybody else is so focused on quantity. You can focus on quality and really find those perfect, true fans of yours that can catapult you to being able to create everything that you want in your business and create a big result for the people you want to serve. So your 100 true fans, what does that look like for you? What is your next step in focusing on that? Share with me what's showing up for you. What parts of this are you doing? What parts do you need to focus on more? What ideas do you have around it? I'll be circling back to the comments and I'm excited to see what's showing up for you.